call me old man Wade.
Damn you, old man!
Wait.
Old ass man.
Shut up, old man. You smell like fart.
No, man!
Old man.
He's so old, he got a podcast on cassette.
Fuck, you're old.
Damn it, Wade.
Take 3. Jesus Christ. This is the third time we're trying to do this.
It's not my fault.
It's absolutely your fault.
How's it my fault?
It totally is.
I'm not making the phone call. I'm just answering it. Yo, so you guys want me to ignore my wife's phone call? What if it's an emergency?
Then she'll call back.
Yo,
Hot and wet.
yo, excuse me. Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that, Coco host? No. All right. So what are we talking about today, old man?
Oh man. So we have a plethora of topics. So where do you guys want to start first? We can start with let's start with your man.
Who?
Your man.
Who? Kodak?
Yeah.
Yo,
Let's talk about it.
I'm so
Let's talk about it.
So here's the crazy part about it. Like
Let's before we even get into that,
yeah.
Toya, the reason I brought this up was because you posted something that people seem to forget, and like, do you want to elaborate on the thing you posted, or are you looking for it now?
I'm looking for it now.
Kodak Black has been a piece of shit for a while. If we're just gonna call it like that. You find it? I think she found it. Okay. So recently he said some really outlandish shit about a widow, and then gave
not just any widow.
No. We're going.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't even matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is, he made a comment about someone who's still grieving over the loss of their husband.
Yeah.
Like,
and we're talking about Kodak Black, in case anybody missed that.
That ugly dude. So
he looks. You know what it is? He looks like one of those spoofs. Like one of those. Like he looks like how they used to draw black people in the 60s and 70s.
yes, he's just missing the big red lips. That's it.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, yeah, I can't even like
like a burnt piece of char.
Like here's the thing. Like I respect his music. I really do. Like that's no secret.
Wow.
Like I really do.
So his rape charges have been
damn,
public.
you get let me.
For 3
Don't go
years.
there, rape charges.
Okay. Rape charges. Okay.
Yo, that's crazy.
And when he called Keke Palmer ugly,
Yeah.
because she was a dark-skinned bitch,
Mm-hmm.
okay, nobody said anything then either.
A lot of people say something, but that's
They did, but not really.
Yo, get out of here.
They did, but not really.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. When he embarrassed young M.A. Now, this one I didn't know about.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an I think there's a lot wrong with the status, but I agree with what they're trying to get across. But what they're doing is using a lot. Finish what you're saying, then I'll get into that. Sorry.
Okay, so with young M.A., he asked her, how you got a coochie but don't want to get fucked? Everybody dismissed it as trolling or whatever.
Who dismissed that as trolling?
So what they're referring to is
we'll get into that.
the stars right now that are very vocal.
Yeah.
People like T.I., people like Tank, people like The Game, people like Diddy. Well, Diddy isn't always really vocal. But you know, the ones that's always out there trying to speak for us.
They defended his young and May comment.
No. Did they? No, they did not.
Okay.
That's the thing. That's what they're saying. They're saying all these people...
No, I'm saying, did they defend him? Did they defend those comments?
They didn't say anything.
Okay.
That's
so
the point.
Silence is the issue. Okay.
Silence is the issue.
Alright, work.
Because you said nothing about the rape.
Yep.
Nothing about the Keke Palmer thing.
Yep. Allegedly.
Nothing about the Young M.A.
Yeah.
Okay. But because he's talking out about Lauren London now, now it's a problem.
So, I've been hearing this beef, right?
Go ahead, you do that. Because what I'm gonna say is it's probably gonna mirror something both you guys were saying.
And what they're saying is it's because of her proximity to a man.
Okay, yeah,
that's the only reason why.
Yeah. You really think that?
This is what it's saying.
But I mean, I
have to say that it's it's proof right here.
I mean, I think it's true. I think it's true that they're saying that based on her proximity to Nipsey Hussle. Mm-hmm. I think at the same time, it has a lot to do with the fact that people respected Nipsey Hussle for what he did for his community and for all of us, just in general, like what he left behind, right? Like different people, right, leave different legacies, right? And we look at those legacies differently, right? Nipsey Hussle was a giant, right? Well, Nipsey Hussle was a giant in his community, right? And then, admittedly, a lot of people didn't listen to his music, right, before he died. But you know what to say about art. It doesn't really stop popping until the artist dies, unfortunately, right? But not only did his music become more prevalent, but people really looked at what he did, right? So he was more than just this average person, right? So people respect him, they respect his wife, they respect his family. And then not only that, before the dude, he died on a Tuesday or a Monday, right? And you got this dude, you got Kodak Black talking about his wife on a Wednesday, Thursday. Like, that's just disrespect.
So here's
that's
the problem.
disrespect.
Here's the problem. You
It's
see,
not honorable.
You see, all you're talking about is him.
Yeah.
When the insult was against her.
What was the insult?
I'm gonna give her what, like?
I'll give her a year to grieve.
Yeah.
But I'll be there to make sure she's okay.
Like, I'm gonna holler at her then.
Yeah.
Like,
No, so I'm not saying no shoot.
All right, so I found this comment. So I had to pause it real quick. Kodak Black said, quote, I'll give her a whole year to mourn, Kodak says. She might need a whole year to be crying and shit for him. So that was his comments towards that. He and T.I. went on to say, Kodak Black, you out of pocket. Fix that shit quickly. Expeditiously, nigga. You out of pocket, nigga.
That sounds like T.I.
Yeah.
We be using mad big words.
Expeditiously.
Expeditiously.
Hold on. Kodak's response to T.I.'s retribution was expectedly far from polite. Fuck that, you pussy ass museum bitch. I ain't give y'all permission to put me there anyway, bitch.
This is in retaliation to T.I. removing.
Okay, but hold on.
No, it doesn't end there. Then Kodak then continued to say, Dude just wants dibs on her. Eat a baby dick.
I'm gonna go back to you, Javi. Right?
Why are you coming back to me?
Because you did what the complaint is.
What?
You focused on Nipsey and
I did.
And R.I.P. Nipsey. I'm not saying that I'm putting him to the side, but the problem was crusty critter Kodak was trying to holler at London and acting like Lauren London and acting like she's not going through something right now.
So what is she going through?
She's mourning.
Mourning what?
The loss of her husband.
So that's where the disrespect comes from, right? Like.
But pause.
Yeah.
The disrespect is towards him, but it's also towards her, and the fact that all these other instances happen, and none of these people, as they're saying, T.I. and the rest of these people who love to speak out, Plies and whoever else, Tank, the Game, none of them defended any of these other situations. And why is that?
Okay, let's talk about this.
Why not speak about the rape and cancel him then?
So
why not when he... Okay, so say you don't want to get into the sexual stuff because it's an allegation, you don't know, and it's allegedly and all that.
I want to focus on that though, because until it's actually proven, we can't. Because this happens a lot. So with the rape allegation, like, you can't really say anything about that. But let me finish. You can't. Because if someone calls me a rapist and I was at home sitting in front of my PlayStation, like, you know what I mean? Or I could literally be at work with cameras on me, with holding a newspaper that says the time and the date of everything that goes on, and that rape... let me finish. Yeah. And that rape allegation is going to stick to me. So I don't want to put that on him since it's still alleged.
Hey, can we say he's not Bill Cosby? Like, this isn't... bunch of women.
No. Rapist. I'm not playing the struggle Olympics with rape. Rape is rape.
No. But again, we're talking about allegations, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just not getting into it because for me, when it comes to someone like, say, Bill Cosby, many women like showed a pattern, right? Yeah. From what I know about this Kodak Black situation, it's one person, right, that came with this allegation, and he has not been convicted of anything yet. Yeah. So I don't know.
Let's just skip that.
I want to break down all of this because this is. I agree with everything that was said in this post. Yeah. I have an issue with wording.
But how come they never said anything about the Keke Palmer thing then?
No, I'm gonna bring a point to this. Let me see the actual post. So,
Like,
I agree with. No, huh?
Go
I agree
ahead.
with both sides of the point. On one hand, you have it's like it was insulting because one, it's the death of a person. Regardless of who the person is, you should respect the dead, and more than anything, you should have respect for the living. This woman is still mourning.
Right.
What he did was fucked up.
Right.
So yes, you are 100% right. So yes, Javi's right when it comes to like his name is in it, and that's why it comes to this. The other problem about this is you have writers who like to over sensationalize things. So in order for people to get clicks, they're not gonna say mourning widow Lauren London. They're gonna say wife of Nipsey Hussle, which is a completely different set of problems to begin with. So there's that. Now, to your point, it should have been more about her. It should have been, yo, you're disrespecting Nipsey Hussle's wife. The title should have been, you're disrespecting this woman. So, but there's also a thing where it's
What the title should have been?
I shouldn't say should have been, but it should have been more focused on the fact that it's a mourning wife as opposed to the person who's, you know what I mean? Because the comments were directed towards her.
But it's T.I. It's not freaking.
No, I'm not even saying like T.I. But like, there's other problem with this whole thing. It's also, it would be like, let's say I died, right? Let's say I died and I'm famous, right? You guys are close to me and Maria, so it's not gonna be a situation where it's all about me. It's gonna be about me and my wife. I'm
just like, can I make this clear? If you ever pass away, the first dude that hollers at Maria is getting punched in the face.
Exactly.
Period.
But that's exactly.
Sorry, I don't care if that's toxic, but
yeah, and no disrespect to your boo, but if something happens to you, I don't know the guy, so I'll be more worried about like you than I will him. So you know what I mean? So it's a little different when T.I. and these guys had a relationship with Nipsey Hussle. But again, where was all this energy when he came at Young M.A.? Two things. It could be one or two. Or Kiki Palmer, which is fucked up because I'm like, you're disrespecting this. You heard my comments about Gilbert Arenas.
Yes, exactly. It was the same situation.
And the way he disrespected, and no one came at him either.
They were just kind of like, it.
I didn't hear about it until you brought it up. To be honest with you.
You know what I mean? And so, but
I don't really think
Gilbert Arenas is
Kodak Black like that. To be honest with you, I think he picked the right person to like the right time to troll somebody. He trolled the grieving wife of somebody that is on the minds of a lot of people right now.
I'm very happy he got stomped out in his own crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah!
Because he wanted to jump out into the crowd thinking he was Mr. OG.
Yeah, he deserved that.
Okay?
Like, he deserved that. Everything that's coming
and they stomped him out, and it was great. He deserved that. Little crusty critter.
Everything that's coming in right now, I think he deserves. Like, you don't
Absolutely.
come at, like, it's just, and again, like, for me personally, like I said, like, let me finish the statement. Hopefully, right? Like
yeah, I'll stop cutting you off. My bad.
No. He wasn't doing that. But like earlier, like I respect his music, right? Like I think he's a really talented kid. And the thing that sucks because I know little Haitian dudes like that from Florida, right? Like Toy with the little violin here. Like I'm not even trying to make them sympathetic or whatever. They're just people, right? But they're people that honestly, a lot of them they act ignorant. Like I'm not surprised. Based off of the environment that they come from. Somebody like Kodak Black, if you look at his history, like I'm not surprised he's acting out like this. And it's unfortunate that somebody that's that talented, right, that's making a lot of people money, nobody's gonna check him on that.
I'm
right?
sorry, he has access, doesn't he?
He does. But
so I don't want to hear that he
hold
doesn't
on.
know.
But nobody's gonna. But here's the thing: I'm not giving an excuse. Like this is not an excuse. Like he has the money. He has the money, but nobody's telling him.
I thought he retired.
Who, Kodak?
Yeah, didn't he retire from music?
Nah.
He just needs to retire and just stay in the house.
He has a bunch of yes men. Like he's probably the dude that's feeding a bunch of people around him. No, but I'm saying no. This is not an excuse. Like he deserves everything that's happening to him. But I'm just saying, like
absolutely.
I'm not surprised. Like nobody was surprised about that behavior earlier on, right? Like it's like, yo, that's that whole Young M.A. situation. Like honestly, like I felt the type of way about that. Like you know how I feel about people homophobic comments. Like I think it's fucked up. Like
And bullies.
Like yeah, and
So you
bullies
were more
in
upset
particular.
about that one than the Keke Palmer one?
Yeah, Keke Palmer could take it herself. She'll be alright. He don't like it, if he's not feeling her. He thinks she's ugly. I don't care.
I have an issue with.
But it wasn't just because she was ugly. It was because she was dark skinned.
Oh, then that's a problem. I have a problem with that. I didn't. Again,
Yes,
I
it was
didn't.
because
I
she
don't.
was dark skinned.
I'm not out here I'm not out here like on whatever the websites checking Kodak. I like his music, but I'm not checking out his personal life.
Well,
Like,
this
I have
brings
no
up
idea.
another conversation of like, what's the difference between when can you and can't you separate the art from the artist?
Cancel culture. Don't cancel us, please. Cancel. No, don't cancel us.
That is true.
So, like, when can you separate it? Like, for example, for me, I've never liked R. Kelly, so I'm not really checking to hear his music right now. I'm never checking to hear his music, and if it did, I would have. I had a song with him and with Jeezy featuring R. Kelly. I deleted it from my iPod. I'm not fucking with that anymore. But if I'm also not gonna knock someone who plays it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like, you know what I mean? They do whatever it is they do. And so I can't necessarily say they're right or wrong for it, but for me personally, like, I just don't want I don't want any parts of that shit. So, dude, it's the old man way, so no one cares about this.
It's part of the ambiance.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know, like, so I guess it's up to you and you, like, Toya, like, where does your, like, can you separate the art from the artist, like, or is it just something like or does it depend on what the situation is?
I think that's what it is. I think it depends on the person and the situation. Like with R. Kelly, he's just canceled because this is an ongoing thing. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Like, you're just canceled, all the way canceled. I can't deal with... How do you have access to so many women just ready to just throw themselves at you, but you want to do that? I can't. I cannot with someone like that. I can't.
He's a predator. He
I
doesn't
can't.
really care
I can't.
what he can access. It was what he wanted.
It's disgusting.
You know what I mean? And I think it goes to, not saying quarterback is R. Kelly, but again, somebody like R. Kelly making a lot of people a lot of money, even though he's probably not checking his own personal finances. Nobody's telling him he can't do something. Like, a lot of people should go to jail. Not just R. Kelly. R. Kelly should go to jail, but a lot of people around him should be in jail right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Especially with Kodak, what did he do? Whatever. But with R. Kelly, yes, I do. Yeah. I feel like all those people who was around him, they deserve some jail time as well. I agree, 100%.
Well, isn't it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like, when you're they were an accessory to the things that were going on.
Yeah, conspiring as well, because they were going through the mall helping. Already knew.
Nasty.
They already knew.
That shit
getting these little
nasty.
girls' numbers and stuff for later, and telling them to come here and telling them to go there. So it wasn't him actually talking to him, but you know.
So I think there's a difference too. Like to piggyback on what Toya's saying, like canceling people depending on certain things, right? So R. Kelly, I can cancel R. Kelly. One, because I think everybody in the hood saw that sex tape. So one, he exposed all of us to that bullshit, right? Like,
yeah, but I was like 15 at the time.
We shouldn't be. That shouldn't be some shit any of us should have experienced.
And then there's more on top of it.
Yeah. So that's and one, he like targeted our community, right? Which again, you do this in any community, it's bad. You should be put under the jail. No matter who.
No, they should build a jail around him. Like,
but
they should put him in the wall of jail.
Because he knew that
nobody would care.
Yes.
He knew.
Nobody cares about little black girls.
We
Nobody
supported
cares.
him. You know what I'm saying? We were the ones
and we were in love with him.
Exactly. And he took that. And then lastly, I think the biggest thing for me personally is, who's he talking about with these songs?
Little girls.
Exactly. And
the Pied Piper. Do you know what the Pied Piper is?
So much. So it's just I can't listen to his music.
Yeah, I'm done with him. He's been canceled.
But then when it comes to somebody like Michael Jackson, again, I'm not saying he did it or didn't do it. There's a lot of whatever. But
there's never been any type of anything close to real proof with him.
It's even with the new Neverland thing. Now it's like the director's like, oh, there was some there's some time differences. Now he's backtracking. It's like, like you got all these people.
Michael Jackson made billions of dollars. Billions, like he made people billionaires, right? He created whole industries. So if he wanted to do some crazy shit, right? Nobody was stopping him. Period. So I'm not even going there, right? Like If he wanted to do it, it was gonna happen, and nobody was gonna stop him. But you know what? I don't know. I think I think his relationship with young boys that we know of is troubling to me. Like, I thought it was weird, to be honest with you. I personally, but that has nothing to do. I don't think that has nothing to do with the type of music he made.
Well,
period.
I think that's the problem. It's not necessarily a problem, but you know what's weird about the cancel culture is it's like depending on who you ask, like the three of us can have a conversation about something and completely disagree, and then leave this room and still be cool. Well, depending on what it is, but like the three of us, I think, have different opinions on just even the Michael Jackson thing in general. But I don't think I think with cancel culture, they're sheep. So it's like if you don't follow the sheep, then you're officially wrong. Like, you know what I mean? I've had this issue.
Except for with the R. Kelly, if you are not canceling him, you are wrong.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Yeah.
To bring it back to the Kodak Black thing, I'm gonna take a break in a second. One of the things that pissed me off about his opinion, like who you like. If you don't like dark skinned people, if you don't like light skinned people, if you don't like white, if you don't like Spanish, if it doesn't get you hard, then or it doesn't get you, or as our lovely Coco host said, if she don't get wet to you for it, then you know what I mean, you do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like men unless you're Ryan Reynolds. So that doesn't do anything for me. Doesn't make me.
You said unless you're who?
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, okay.
So that does nothing for me. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna tell someone they're wrong for feeling a certain way for not finding somebody or someone attractive. But I think it's different when you say something like, "There's no such thing as a pretty blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Especially because one, he's black.
Yeah.
Two, he's a dark-skinned black male.
Yeah.
So he's doing something that you should never do. You never air out your family's dirty laundry or something like that. Because now what happens? You're thinking that because
He's ignorant, yo.
But you know that, Harvey. You get somebody else from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
You get this racist white dude who's just like, well, see, the nigger don't like her, like a dark skinned woman, so why should I like a dark skinned
woman?
woman?
That's why I can't stand this culture. Like people will make so much money off of us, right? But not set some of us aside and go like, yo, what you're saying is crazy. Like, you need to, who cares about?
Why would they? They're making money off of them.
That's what I'm saying.
And if you set them aside and set them straight, they're not going to make money off of them, Harvey. So why are you even asking that question?
I don't know. You know what? I take it back. Society's trash.
Stop trying to enlighten people.
Yeah, that's what I do. Super Bowl.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I feel like the people who actually have the intelligence and the means to do so should enlighten the people who necessarily don't.
Yeah.
What you guys don't realize though, people like Kodak Black don't want to be enlightened. He's very happy being stupid.
But he's not stupid. That's the thing. Like,
he's very happy saying
dude.
these idiotic things.
Yes,
he is very happy
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to be enlightened.
Yeah. He's making more money. Like,
he
the
doesn't
type of money
care.
a kid like him is making.
That's why he got
stupendous.
stomped out in the crowd.
Yeah, you deserve that Kodak.
Like he did. Don't.
No, I do. I love a little. I'm for everybody. Like, I don't care. I know people don't like when I say this, but yo, when I see a young black man, especially given what I do know about his history, he probably won't succeed. Okay, I get on my.
You know the song?
Dirty soul, yeah! I hear talking, but he about to get that ass on. Watch I get the club crunk.
Hey, yo, that's what he's. Yeah, that's what it is.
Playing waterfront, get that ass on. Do it like them dirty South boys.
Alright, we'll be right back after these brief messages.
This is a Main Hustle Media podcast. Hey y'all, this is Charmaine, aka Mixed Girl Maine, host of Militantly Mixed, the podcast about race and identity from the mixed race perspective. If you are of mixed race or multi-ethnic heritage, this show is here to represent for you. And if you're a monoracial person that is just curious about what us mixed folks go through, this show is for you too. You can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, or most any other podcast platform. Militantly Mixed is a Main Hustle Media podcast, and don't forget to be your mixed ass self. Main Hustle Media. Turn your side hustle into your main hustle.
And we're back. Don't forget to visit oldmanwade.com. Articles. There will be another article coming out by the time this episode comes out.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Maybe 2 or 3. Me and Harvey about to get our article back.
Yeah.
So don't forget that Old Man Wade isn't just a podcast. It's actually a what, Harvey?
It is a platform for everything geeky, pop culturally, music.
Kinky.
We're coming from an urban perspective. We're coming from a multicultural perspective. We're coming from an all-colored perspective. From white to black to brown to everything, man. We love all y'all. Anyways.
Also, stay tuned to Black Rabbit, BlaqueRabbit.com for content from my best friend and my brother, Lavelle. Also, stay tuned for some other stuff from me on there.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget Comic Book 101, Comic Book History 101 with me and Brandon from the Why So Serious podcast. Don't forget about that.
Sounds like Old Man Wade's taking over.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to spread my wings and fly away. I'm a peacock, Captain. You gotta let me fly.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of flying peacocks. Phrasing. Boom. So, Javi.
Yo.
Your girl's getting jail time.
My girl? Aunt Becky?
Your girl.
Yeah, I had a crush on Aunt Becky, man.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
See?
You know who I had
Your girl.
You know who I had a crush on?
Who?
On that show in general?
Well, okay, this is specific to that show.
Specific to that show.
I wasn't like out here looking for Aunt Becky.
So in that show in particular, I was the one who liked Kimmy Gibbler.
Yo, she was kind of dope, bro.
Kimmy Gibbler looked like she could blow and then take a facial.
My only problem with that, even as a kid, they always talk about her armpits being stink and stuff like that, her feet stinking. That would bother me, but I was like, yo, she's kind of hot.
I'm not sucking toes or anything. It's what I care for.
Wait, why are we talking about this?
Because your girl from Full House is getting jail time.
Yeah. So so this is crazy. So by now, I hope most people are aware of the college acceptance scandal that was rocking the social networks maybe
rocking
2 or 3 weeks
nation.
ago. Right, rocking the nation. And I remember hearing a lot of reading a lot of hot takes about it, saying why do people care? This has been happening for decades. Every rich kid has an in. But for people that were somewhat aware of the situation, we kind of knew that it was different. We knew things like this was happening, right? Yeah. Especially in elite schools. You would see, you would hear things. Whatever, but you wouldn't really know how it was happening. But thanks to rich people doing what rich people tend to do, which is get greedy and do stupid things, they got caught up in some shit, and some really famous and really rich people might actually see some jail time.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are.
I'm very happy about that. Stop it.
Yeah.
If your kids are dumb, or they're not gonna try, or they don't even let them be. First of all, a lot of these parents are forcing their kids and pushing their kids to go to college or pushing them to be something, and that's not even what they want. That's number one.
Yeah. Y'all are missing the biggest point of this. I'm actually disappointed in both of you guys, especially you, Avi, being the person that you are, and you
murder me.
Huh?
Murder me.
Because you're the pinnacle of political perfection. Mm-hmm. You keep your ears to all the stuff that goes on in the world, the real serious stuff. Yeah. And you plan on having kids, so this is something you should be focused on. The point you guys missed is Old Man Wade was right!
Yeah, okay.
Let's get that out of here. I told y'all.
Who'd you tell?
I told everybody. I told the masses. I told the world that she was going to be the poster child, and she was going to be the sacrificial lamb. And y'all were like, no, she's not going to do that. It's not going to be her. And I was like, yes, she is. She's just famous enough for it to be an issue, but not famous enough that it's not going to be an issue. And y'all were like, no. Old man. Oh, we can go back. Do not make me go back and take a clip off the show and then insert it here.
That says she wouldn't go to jail?
And that she wasn't going to be the poster child. I told y'all so she was going to be the poster child.
I don't remember this conversation.
Oh, wait. Well, okay, you
weren't here for it. I was saying y'all.
First of all,
so Javi, y'all mean Javi.
What do you call
Yes, please drop that in, because Javi was just talking like he don't know what you was talking about.
I'm going to go back and find it. It's just going to go.
Please do.
Go ahead. Because, I don't know. But, I'm happy that you're right about this. But I'm not surprised that she's going to jail, right? And I think that you're half right in the fact that I wouldn't call that. I think you're half right. She most likely will see jail time, right? Her in particular, just because her and her husband spent the most money, and they have the most.
So is that why she's getting the most punishment?
No.
Is that why she's becoming
No.
the poster child? Because she spent the most money?
Well, she's not the poster child. She's just the most famous person, and
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. So she's not a quote unquote sacrificial lamb, right?
She is absolutely the sacrificial lamb. She is the most. She's the person that everyone knows about. She's the one that's being trotted around social media.
But she spent the most.
No, but so here's chicken. This is like the chicken versus the egg conversation, right? So
The egg came first.
she's the most famous person because everybody knows who they know who Aunt Becky is, right? So obviously that's who social media is going to key into in this whole situation, right?
Yes.
That's one. So you can't say that. No, the FBI isn't out here like, oh, Aunt Becky this, Aunt Becky that. They're just giving the facts of the case, right? At this point.
Yes.
So when I say she's not being a sacrificial lamb, I'm saying that based on the fact that the reason why she's getting the most scrutiny is one, she didn't take the plea.
Dumbass.
So if you're a poor person or a person of color, you know what that means, right? So these are the feds, right? These aren't your local cops. Federal authorities have like a 98% conviction rate, right? So if they're coming to get you, ask Martha Stewart. Ask her.
Facts.
Ask Martha Stewart.
Facts.
If the feds, unless you're the president of the United States, we can go into that later at another show. If the feds are coming to get
I
you,
can't wait until he gets out of office and they immediately arrest his
well,
ass.
it's
It's
going
going to be great.
They're not going to investigate you unless they know they're going to get a conviction, right? So the FBI or the feds are going to go to you and go like, listen, we can spend a bunch of tax dollars, we can have this drawn out court case, or you can plead, say you're guilty, and we might go easier on you, right? They don't go easy. The feds don't go easy on anybody. They might go easier on you. So what Lori Loughlin did, and this is what's happening, her and her lawyers thought that the prosecutors were just playing hardball.
Yeah,
right?
she thought they were bluffing.
So instead of taking the plea, like a lot of the people in this case that, spent a couple of $1,000s here and there, right? They took the plea, pleaded guilty, whatever. She was like, nah, not guilty. We're taking this to court. I'm rich. But she fucked up. She's not dealing with local authorities. She's dealing with the fucking FBI.
R-I-C-O, the Rico.
So again, she's a rich person, her and her husband, doing some stupid shit. I can't, whatever. So it is what it is.
We can sit all day and talk about the legality of all this, but would you guys like to have some fun?
Oh,
Yeah, I would love to have some fun.
Yes, let's do it.
So I'm on Twitter.
Oh, Lord.
And so we have Orange is the New Have Mercy.
Oh, Jesus. Yo, who did that?
Someone named Jenna Cost. So we also have someone posted a picture of Kimmy Gibbler on a cordless phone. It says, "Becky, he's bluffing. Don't take that deal. My uncle's father's best friend is an attorney."
My uncle's father's best friend is Jesus.
Lori Loughlin must be setting things up for an insanity defense because she can't be this detached from reality.
To not take the plea? Like, are you kidding me?
When you're signing autographs outside the courthouse thinking you can buy your way out of things, and it's several days later. She thought she had a full house, but she had a 2 and a 7.
People are stupid.
Memo to C-list celebs: don't play chicken with a federal prosecutor.
Yo, facts. That was not even a meme. That's not even a joke.
It's not.
You don't do that.
I don't understand why she didn't just
But
take
here's the
what
thing.
was offered.
The
to
suburbs
her.
don't know the feds like the streets do. That's what it is.
Is that Trina? That's Trina, right?
Yeah, it's Trina.
All right. So someone posted a GIF of, I know you thought. I was like, you thought that. You don't know that, but you thought that.
Seriously.
No, excuse me. Let me get it right. Feds be like, you don't know that. You thought that.
Yeah. They know.
Someone posted a picture of the dude from Arrested Development in jail going, "I've made a huge mistake." Waiting on Uncle Jesse to come and save the day.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh no.
One of my
Hey, no guitar solo is going to save you, Aunt Becky.
None.
You're done.
There's a bunch of gifts of what's the little Olsen twins kid's name?
The Olsen twins.
Well, one picture of the Olsen twins going, "You're in big trouble, Mister." Let me tell you, this has been one of my favorite things on the internet, like for the last few days.
No, because people aren't used to seeing rich people go through this, right? And the thing is,
go through this. Rich people actually have to pay for what they do.
But here's the thing. So, and this is
because we'll see it on the news and they'll get off.
But this is what I was trying to explain to people, right? So this is a thing that people do. Rich people. If you're rich, you're gonna have all the head start you can have in life, right? The issue with this is that these people say, "Fuck this head start. I'm gonna create all new head starts."
Dog, if you were a Law and Order character, you'd be Gorman.
Who, me? I don't even know who that is.
Fuck, you're old.
And welcome back. I know it was kind of stopped abruptly. I think we're pretty much done making fun of Becky from Aunt Becky from Full House, so we can kind of drop that there.
Yeah.
But we're joined by our lovely wives, Mrs. Super Bowl Coffee.
What up, son?
And my life.
Your life?
Do we have to go through this again every time? Every time?
Yeah.
So you are saying life?
Yeah.
Yo, that's been messing my head up for so long.
Me
does
too.
this
We're
say
married.
Okay, I get it.
Okay, I love it. No,
Oh, don't look at me like that.
I was just eating my fake nugget. Damn.
Okay, I'm saying.
Mind your business. Gosh.
So, there was a...
Keep fighting with her. I'm going to take her home.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You know we're recording when you say that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. As long as you know. Because I'll never live my Ryan Reynolds comments down, but, I love me some Ryan Reynolds, so, there's that. Anyway, so, I'm pretty sure, I've talked to Maria about this, and Super Bowl knows about this, but, do you guys know about the new, WWE champion?
Yeah, the
Kofi Kingston.
Yeah,
A black guy.
Something like that.
African, I believe he's born in Ghana. I know his parents are from Ghana, so, he's world champion.
He reps Boston.
Reps Boston. I think he went to school. I think he went to BU.
BU or BC, one of the two.
Until he went to college here. He has ties to Boston. He loves the Celtics. But the problem is, well, excuse me, there isn't a problem. Well, you guys know for most of the wrestling incarnation, the champions tend to be bigger guys. Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, The Rock, John Cena, they're all bigger guys. Now, Kofi Kingston is not a big guy by any sense of wrestling terms. Mm-hmm. So he is 6 feet, but he's only 212 pounds, which for most wrestlers is small. Like you get a guy like Sheamus, who I'm looking at now, he's 267.
Admittedly, a lot of those losers, it wasn't naturally big.
Yeah, you got a guy like skinny dude, like slimmer looking guy like Randy Orton, mm-hmm. who's taller, but he's 250. Mm-hmm. So one of the wrestlers, one of the guys who used to be wrestlers, came out and said something that was completely ridiculous. I'll read the article. Superstar Billy Graham reacts to backlash over his comments.
Billy Graham, the pastor?
Superstar Billy Graham.
Oh.
He's an old wrestler from like the
Don't judge me, guys.
80s and 90s, maybe earlier than that. Superstar Billy Graham has received some backlash over his recent comments that has made about WWE Kofi Kingston and the push he got from WWE officials. It all started when he exposed his belief in a recent post on his official Facebook page that the idea of Kofi Kingston being in the main event spot is a joke, due to him not being thrilled about his, quote, 445-pound WWE champion. Graham then suggested that Kingston should take steroids to get bigger.
True.
You serious?
True.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not. I'm not sure.
So,
You were serious.
Oh yeah, so Graham suggested that Kingston should take steroids to get bigger. As a result, fans and even WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, who I'll read later, has pushed back on its belief. Graham decided to take to his Facebook yet again to give his reaction to the backlash by writing the following. Here we go. Steroid Kofi hysteria. Okay, fans, I hope someone can get the message to Kofi that me, superstar Billy Graham, has him all over Facebook and that he is causing pure pandemonium. Now, let's hope he can catch my MSG sellouts. I had about 21 sellouts according to Dave Meltzer. By the way, folks, at the time, those sellouts were 22,000 fans, and on most occasions, 5,000 fans in the Felt Forum under the main floor. So he's boasting and bragging right now. You know, it's what old people do. So let me address a few concerns some of the fans have about my advice to pull up about some of the advice to have Kofi bulk up a bit by using some steroids. Now, this is the part that cracked me up. Please notice that I urged Kofi to use some steroids, but I never told him to abuse them like I did.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Please notice.
I feel better about it.
Please notice the two WWE greats in the photos below, seen as 16-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It appears to me to be very massive. You think he might have been a little juiced in this photo? Of course. But no one is complaining about Vince's golden boy being all roided up. Or did you folks simply forget? And Mr. Dave Bautista posing with me backstage here in Phoenix. You think old Dave might have been on the juice in the shot? No one's complaining there again. Y'all just must have forgot, didn't you?
What is his argument?
So does he think that like just no one can get big by just using naturally?
But nobody's really into that aesthetic anymore. Nobody's into that. Like back in the 80s, like people like that big roided look. Like nobody's even everybody's hip to it. Like in baseball, I'm not even that hip into wrestling, but I knew that steroids was a big problem. People are hip to that, so nobody's really checking for that big roided looking super athlete, right? Like I'm assuming this Kofi guy looks pretty athletic, which seems to be the aesthetic that seems to be popular nowadays, right?
My wife had some interesting comments about this. Before we get into her comments, because I love the stuff she said about it. During the podcast, Booker T expressed that...
Oh, now you're sucking up to her because she's in the room. All right, I see you.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Smart guy.
Expressed the elation over Kofi Kingston's chance at victory. Even though the reality of wrestling founder claimed that having a Black W champion is long overdue, he is ultimately happy for Kingston, the first African-born WWE champion in the promotion's long history. But his comments of Superstar Billy Graham said, Superstar Billy Graham said some disparaging things about Kofi Kingston, and the thing is, man, these old guys need to wake up and realize their era is over. Do you know what I mean? It's over. And to bring steroids into the conversation as far as what a man needs to do to get over the top in pro wrestling business, man, there is more than a life of the wrestling business. What about your health? I respect Superstar Billy Graham for what he's accomplished in the business and what he's about and what he said about me. But Superstar Billy Graham throwing that kind of talk out there, who just made history, man. He said it again. He just made history, and so basically he's just saying that, like, you know, you don't really need the steroids to get into this. But like, so Maria, you're in the medical field.
What?
Like
for him to get that big?
No. This like, well, your comments just in general that like the comments about like no wrestler gets that big without steroids, or the fact that he said some steroids.
To be like massive, you're doing something. Like I don't like. Trying to tread lightly.
Why are you trading lightly?
Now you could have genetic traits, yes, that you could naturally just be a bigger person that can build, but the average super small person is not going to bulk up to someone that size naturally.
Yeah.
So like, say, I'm trying to think of somebody like that.
Me versus Jeff.
Like, well, your listeners don't know who Jeff is.
Jeff, he's coming at you hard right now.
Jeff's a smaller guy.
No, he's a smaller guy. But I'm saying like, I was trying to use like
Floyd Mayweather or Mike Tyson.
Like Mark Anthony and how small he is. He's never gonna bulk up to the size of like The Rock.
Yes.
Without some kind of enhancement,
or
because he's not genetically
I agree.
predisposed to like have those traits. He's a small framed, small man.
Yes.
Like, right? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what are your comments on him saying some steroids?
What do you?
So you're saying he should take steroids?
I'm not saying he should take steroids.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying that he should get as big as he can, and that's as big as he can get.
Well, the whole thing about it. So
that's just life. Like, you get what you get. God bless me with fucking ginormous hips and fucking the ability to gain weight by looking at bread. I'm so lucky. But that's just my genetic predisposition.
I think that's like today's society, like this whole like people make fun of it, like being too sensitive, like body positivity, like accepting more body types.
I'm fine with my body type. It's just that like I carry weight. Like,
But I'm not even talking about you in particular, but I'm talking about like in wrestling, right? So we're talking about wrestling. Like wrestling for a long time, you had to have a certain look, right? You look like
Like
you
that
you
big,
said,
Just like Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan.
yeah, but I think society in general is being more accepting. Like we're more,
Yeah.
we know that somebody being huge doesn't necessarily mean that they can win a fight,
exactly.
right? We're aware of that. We've watched enough, Jackie Chan movies to know that small dudes probably rock like 50 dudes in the supermarket.
I mean, if you're gonna
right?
be realistic about it, everyone looks at Bruce Lee, and he's not the biggest guy on any level.
But he's jacked though, like, and I think
Yeah.
that like this guy Kofi Kingston, right?
He's
like
jacked for his size. Like,
Yeah,
his
he
body
still
type,
looks
his
like-
frame. I think he's.
yeah.
But for him to.
Nobody's afraid of. No, let me say something. Ain't nobody afraid of that big ass muscular dude. You can. I will punch you 8 times before you even take a swing.
Like people do crazy shit though to try to bulk up. Like so, like like bodybuilders and stuff like that. They'll buy like breast milk from women willing to like sell their breast milk because they think that the vitamins and stuff that is in the breast milk is gonna help them both.
Well, you can
To an extent.
you
but-
can generate body mass.
Immunities
You
and
can
stuff.
you
Yeah.
can depending on different diets,
Huh?
right?
He's
You,
a
and
chick.
if you have like a dietitian,
He's a
or
chick
if you
now.
know what you're doing, like
Yeah.
This is
you
what
can
we're talking
manipulate
about.
the way your body looks like. But there's like I think you're right. There's a certain limit.
Yeah, like you're never like I always tell people, even
Yeah.
at my thinnest, like I never got below like a size like probably 7 or 9. But I was very thin. But that's just my body type. I'm big boned. But I just have a bigger body frame. I have a bigger there's no way I could ever be smaller than my average size when I was thin was like a 9.
You should take steroids.
Yeah, I don't need fucking steroids.
No.
But so, why would someone who's actually in a position to know how many people have died in the wrestling business from doing steroids? Why would someone say something like that, considering the amount of people who go ahead?
Just want the light.
What?
Do you think this is all just about publicity then?
You just want to be the light.
But,
Yeah, fact.
But even then, why would knowing the damage that it causes to their fellow wrestlers?
How old is he?
Superstar Billy Graham.
Mhm.
I had to look it up. I'm
Is he
gonna.
an old dude? He's out here
He's older.
older. Well, I don't know. Like a lot of wrestlers, they end up passing away at 40, early 50s.
Yeah, but that's why a lot of them get cancer and shit.
Yeah.
Steroids fucks
Oh,
with
he's
your body.
actually he's one of the older ones. He's 75.
So I mean, steroids didn't do anything to him apparently.
Well, he's definitely in a different mindset though.
But you look at a guy you look
And
at
it does. It causes bone breakdown. I mean, there's probably other effects to it. Did he die? No, but it fucks up your body.
But doesn't it also have a major impact on your brain as well?
Yeah, so steroids play very important parts in all types of important body functions, right? Steroid, there's multiple different types of steroids in your body that are flowing all the time. They do all types of stuff, and you introducing a horse steroid or whatever the hell they're putting in there, it ain't doing nothing nice. You should probably not do that.
Yeah. But so why? So then that's the thing I'm not getting. Why encourage it then?
Because
For
it used to get
career.
people rich. Yeah, it used to
That's
get.
how you made money.
Well, do you think you would know who Hulk Hogan was if he didn't juice up?
You might. He had a big enough. He had a big enough personality.
Not in the 80s. Are you serious?
Well,
If he wasn't out here ripping,
They were all
Hulkamania
huge.
shirts.
How many small
Yeah.
fucking wrestlers do you really remember from back then? Actual remember as big names. They were all giant.
Unless it was part of their persona.
Well, that's what I think. If none of them were taking steroids, and you know what I mean, the cream would rise would rise to the top. So you would have so Hulk Hogan would probably still be who he was.
So we're gonna get into a controversial part, I guess, of this conversation. And please, I'm not saying this out of any disrespect. I 100% respect wrestling. You should watch it a lot, and I think it's a real sport, right? But I think that's where you have to separate wrestling from, say, a football, right? Because even though in wrestling these are real athletes that are putting their bodies on the line, right? It has a lot to do with the way they look, the crowd that they draw, right?
Absolutely.
It's a lot about the aesthetic. You took wrestling classes, part of the purpose is building your persona, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the time when Hulk Hogan was coming out, part of that persona meant that you had to be a big dude. know what I mean? You had to be one of these meatheaded
Big, bulky
looking guys. Like, so I don't think it was about there was a lot of good wrestlers back then that were small. It's just that they didn't draw the crowd. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
My thing was if they weren't taking these steroids, then it would be an even playing field, and you'd have these personalities who would basically, so it would look a little bit more even if they weren't doing things that were basically like breaking their bodies down.
So let's talk about, and again, so this is just the way I think. Let's think about technology. And this might sound far fetched, but like the transition to HD and to even better quality television changed the way we watch news, changed the way they even make like sitcoms, right? And it definitely affected the way we look at wrestling, right? So I think it was a lot harder for small, like it's just that's a technical thing, right? It was a lot harder for smaller people, right, to make those moves look the way they looked on the type of televisions, types of cameras they had back then. Like you needed a big body. You needed big bodies out there throwing each other, like throw themselves at each other and stuff like that back then to make that impact, I think.
I also feel like, honestly, if they didn't have those big ass dudes back then, like it would have not been as popular.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think that like people just wanted to see these like beastly men, like larger than life,
gladiatorial type.
Yeah.
And plus, if you're mad small, like think about the crowd. Think about how big it is. If you're way far back, you have the 7-foot dude that's 100 pounds, solid muscle. Like you can see that.
There was no shock. There's no shock and awe with someone who's 150 pounds.
Yeah, like you just look like a speck in retrospect, and like people are like, "Why am I watching this?"
So why is it different?
They wanted larger than life.
So why is it different now? Like, is it like you said? Is it like a technology thing where like now everything's in HD? So now it's more of a what you can do in a ring, or is it now because of the civilization we live in now, where it's not necessarily your physical, it's about what your persona more than everything else. So what's the difference between like you have like the 80s and 90s when you had to be like 303 pounds and have 90-inch pythons, and someone like Kofi Kingston or Daniel Bryan, who are both smaller guys?
I think it was a transitional period. I think I remember this.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's the technology and it's the fact that we've
Like
grown to
people are
understand that you
evolving.
don't need
You don't have
to
to
be
be
big
skinny,
and
you don't have to be
barbaric.
big,
Because that's not healthy. That's not what we're doing anymore.
You better have a heart attack.
Right. Like
Right.
that's not
That's
what
not
we're
good.
doing anymore. We realize.
Ain't nobody afraid of you.
Yeah. And it's because of like body positivity and shit too. I feel like culture's changing. Like people are more and more people are more socially accepting of people now than they were back when.
And even the style.
I feel like way back when, like you had to be skinny. You had to have like no ass. Like you had to like, and then think about like just think of the evolution of the ass, right? Like think about that from that retrospect. Like think about the 80s and like how ass was then, and now think about how ass is now.
There was literally no ass in the 80s. Like, actively
like no ass, no titties. Yeah. Now it's all about ass and titties. Like if you don't got them, we don't want it.
Well, titties have always been a thing. Like titties have always been.
Yeah, boobs have always been in, but ass has gone crazy.
Yeah.
Like ass literally exploded.
Literally.
All of a sudden, like white men, black men, Spanish, like everybody's like, look at that ass.
But just to get back to like the
Thank you, sir. Mix a lot.
Just to get back into like the technicality, I guess, of the wrestling part too. Like I remember watching like a transitional period in wrestling when you started getting like the real like high flying. This is like
the Hardy Boys.
Exactly.
Who was
Rey
the
Mysterio,
kid that died?
Owen Hart.
Yeah. He kind of brought that. He was part of the Hart family, but he started getting really,
he was a little different because he did a lot more high flying than
exactly.
The rest of
and then so I think that brought it. That you started seeing that transition, right? Undertaker is probably one of the most
intimidating looking like
ever, and he wasn't he was just a big. He was just naturally tall and a big dude, right? Like Mankind. There was nothing athletic about that guy.
Like Andre the Giant. Yeah. Like he wasn't really like he had a fucking beard guy.
So it's culture, technology that people, you know.
He had a gross So he wasn't like, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't like the typical like muscular, roided out. He was just like a big like.
But there was also a thing with Andre the Giant though, just because he also had a big personality as well. Yeah. Like he was a well loved person. Like when he was on, I think it was Johnny Carson. He was on like his personality.
Yeah,
show.
no, exactly. But he was like a big dude though. Like he was larger than life.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I remember, I met him when I was a kid, and I remember that. Like I remember meeting him, and I remember feeling so small and like him being so huge. And like his voice was so deep and like so like he talked calm and like soft because it was like children, but like
They still do it.
like his voice. Like I couldn't imagine like if you were his kid and like you did something wrong, like that ass beating would be like the ass beating of all ass beating.
You palm your whole
Even
body.
that yelling, like the yelling
from toe to top of your head, like.
You would do something stupid once. I bet you he had the best children ever.
But see, that's what it is. It's the personality. Right?
Yeah,
it's the personality.
But they also said he was like one of like the
gentlest people ever. No, he was.
I met they used to call him Diesel. Steve Nash.
Kevin Nash.
I met him at a gas station on the way from like Michigan.
That's so crazy.
Yo, same thing. Like I just felt like a
small. Like you don't realize how big they.
Like it made sense to me why some of these dudes felt like they needed steroids going up against like I need to show up. Like I need to be big. Like these dudes were inhuman, yo. Yeah.
Like you either have it naturally or you don't. Mm-hmm. Like some people are just bigger than life even without the muscles. Like you said, like Andre the Giant didn't have like muscles and shit. He had a beer gut. Mm-hmm. Like but he was larger than life. He was huge. Like
well, so let's talk about there was a middle of this. You had a guy like Chris Jericho who was maybe 5'11" on a good day. 220, which is bigger.
He must look so much smaller than all of them.
He did, but he was also his personality made him look big. Yeah, he was insanely popular. Like, and his personality made him bigger than everyone else, and he was one of the smaller champions at the time. Yeah. So why would and one of the best, and again, this is great marketing. You have him beat two of the bigger guys in wrestling. He beat Stone Cold Steve Austin and he beat The Rock. Yeah. In the same night.
Oh damn.
Exactly. Now we all know it's scripted, but the idea is
being able to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then again, look at Stone Cold. He's not really like
he's not big. He's not.
He was muscular, but he was.
But he was a normal size, I feel.
Yeah.
But he was beating the quote unquote 7 foot Undertaker.
Because then they got into like the underdog. You know what I mean? Like he's the underdog.
I think wrestling out of any sport, wrestling has an opportunity to really like do things when it comes to like representing like.
Different.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they
they're learning that it's a marketing. It's how easy it is to market it with the women's revolution. They're like I was
gonna say the women's revolution alone. Think about how much money they made off that shit, and they didn't even want to do that. Like it was forced on them. They didn't want to do it, and they did it. Are you mean mugging me right now?
No, I'm listening to you.
Oh, sorry. You had that look like I cut you off and you were gonna fight me. Okay.
She keeps saying this shit, and she doesn't realize that you say your husband wants to fight you. It makes me.
I was kidding.
Well, you know that.
I want to fight Shanice all the time.
Moving on, but no, like it's funny. For example, like Becky Lynch, like out of like almost
don't be
seemingly overnight, like she became popular. Like I've liked her for a while, and I remember I think it was a couple years ago. Like they actually let her show her personality on Instagram. I was like, oh, so she does have a personality other than the bullshit like steampunk thing they give her. I was like, oh, why don't they do more with her? And then they did. And then one day, out of nowhere, she became like this larger than life personality. She started calling herself the Man, which is the funniest shit ever. She had a feud with Ronda Rousey, who was like quote unquote baddest woman on the planet.
Ronda Rousey would rock her. I don't know who she is, but I'm pretty sure Ronda Rousey would freaking
rock her. Because Ronda Rousey is a legitimate fighter and Becky Lynch is not. So like she beat.
I don't think Ronda Rousey though is a horrible actress.
She's terrible. But but you know what's funny about
it? She's bad for wrestling.
I bet you would say it to her face though.
No, she's not. That
bitch would kill me.
She'd kill all of us. I can't. No, we can't protect you.
For real. I would say it.
Well, like, fun thing about it is, like, people shit on her, but it's like she's improved so much in such a short amount of time.
No, she has, but she's a horrible actress. That girl cannot act. She's definitely a fighter.
But from what she's doing now, it's perfect. Like, she doesn't have to be Angelina Jolie or Denzel Washington to be in the WWE. Like, she's perfect exactly where they are. And and WWE is smart. Once they realize that the women's revolution is a big thing, now they're like, let's get Ronda Rousey. Let's push her forward.
I think the UFC borrowed a lot from like WWE. Like the way that
Dana White.
Her being
Dana White is a fucking WWE. He's essentially a WWE personality.
I think she was a WWE personality throughout her UFC career.
Kinda.
I think she acted like it.
Conor McGregor's a better example of a WWE personality. Like,
I think
the guy who owns the UFC, Dana White. Like he is essentially just a character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
But my whole thing though is like the WWE is starting to get better with or whatever the fuck it is. What is it now?
WWE.
World Wildlife Federation.
That's so funny to me.
But I think as like times are
Probably.
changing, they are changing in a positive way because I feel like the WWE was like very like when it was WWF whatever like
Misogynistic as fuck.
yes, racist, misogynistic,
homophobic.
yeah, like I think they're just one of those old good old boy like corporations that now is starting to get like
Have you met the
younger
owner?
Who wanted to
No,
make
I know
America
that's what I'm
great again.
saying. But now all these like new young like kids are coming in and working for them, and like I think it's changing the culture, and that's why things are changing.
Yeah.
I think that like even like the wrestlers coming in, like it's just changing because they're not willing to do like all the stereotypes as much anymore. Because you know that's one of my biggest fucking pet peeves with wrestling. I
Who's
don't
the guy-
like
who's the
the
guy you
fucking
dated?
stereotypes.
Who's the guy you
Black
dated?
girl has to be a hood rat. Like, black guys gotta be a thug. Like, white guys gotta be like the fucking backwoods redneck. Like, they have every like strong stereotype.
He wasn't a thug, was he?
Who?
Booker T?
Yeah.
He was part of
He had a oh god I can't believe I'm about to
It depends
No.
on what part, like, yeah.
he had when
I
he
haven't
was in
watched
W
this since WWF, so.
when
He started WCW.
when he was in WCW he
Yeah.
had a gimmick called, and I kid you not, GI Bro.
Lemon Crush was.
I don't know what just happened.
Neither do I.
You said WCW.
Yeah,
You don't remember WCW?
not Women Crush Wednesday. There was a wrestling federation called World.
You don't remember?
No, woman crush Wednesday.
You have to remember the WCW.
Moving on. Moving
When
on.
when the Hulk the Hulk.
The Hulk? She said when the Hulk was wrestling?
I'm
Is
moving.
that what you're talking about?
I'm moving on. But yeah, so like
Listen,
he was.
she's confused right now. Just let her be.
There was GI Bro. There was
Toy and Super Bowl are currently pretty high right now. So
there was also Crime Time.
Crime Time? What was that?
Chad Gaspar and JTG.
Hulk Hogan.
So I was a WWF
That's
guy.
who I meant.
I figured that's who you meant.
Thank you. Wait.
I'll show you the
When
clip
Hulk
later.
Hogan was wrestling, what was it then?
He switched to WCW. for a
WWF.
while.
It was WWF and WCW.
Yeah.
They're two different companies.
So it was WWF, and then it went to WWE.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got the F out.
No, they got. So
was
they
slogan.
had a
That
long-term
was the
legal
slogan.
battle with the World Wildlife Foundation.
Okay, I do remember
And
the
lost.
change,
Yeah.
but I don't
No, I
remember
mean, that foundation's pretty
WCW. I
fucking huge
feel.
at the time.
What happened?
So, they're bigger than them.
Absolutely.
Say that one more time. Yo, you can't be saying things. Sorry, I have popcorn in my mouth, guys.
All right, I'm into the show.
All right. Wait, no, I have a question before you end it. So, who was this Kofi Kingston? Like, what's his personality? Like, what is he? Like,
Well,
Oh,
so
it's
before,
Is he a stereotype?
Oh, you ready for this?
They made
so,
it a stereotype in the beginning, I feel like.
I'm glad you said that. So I'll bring it up. So in the beginning, he was Kofi Kingston. He used to come down in green, yellow, and black.
green, yellow, and
Jamaican.
black.
Wasn't he Jamaican? That's
Yeah,
what I
he's
was okay.
Jamaican.
That's why I was
So
confused.
he was Jamaican.
So he's
for-
Jamaican.
No.
Does he have dreads?
So they made him a Jamaican bobsledder for no reason.
They did.
So it gets
They
better.
made him a stereotype.
I don't
So,
understand.
so hold on. So I paused it so they could hear Kofi's old music. So eventually Kofi Kingston went through that, and then one day Kofi Kingston was talking to Triple H, and Triple H goes, "Wait," and Kofi doesn't have an accent. And Triple H looks at him dead in the face, and goes, "Wait, aren't you supposed to be Jamaican?"
Wait, he was doing the accent too?
Yeah,
Is there a
I believe
video
so.
of the accent?
No, he
I
wasn't doing the accent.
he might have been. I don't remember. Like it's been a while. It's been 11 years since he's been like.
I don't think he was.
How would you
Fake
know?
Jamaican accents.
Because I watched it with you before. I've seen him in the costume.
Not then. Like you've seen a few. You've seen a few pay-per-views, but you didn't watch like Monday Night Raw with me. You know what? Doesn't matter. So long story short is he joins up with Xavier Woods and Big E, and they form a team called.
I'm guessing they're all black.
Yes, they
Okay.
formed a team called the New Day,
Mhm.
and their thing was the power of positivity.
Oh.
And they made jokes about they were supposed to be good guys who like
Anime dudes.
yes.
I remember seeing a lot of pictures with them.
So
Yes.
I'll get into that.
Mhm.
So their whole thing was like they were like church goers, like their music was like really churchy,
Mhm.
but people hated them. What happened was they went to Philadelphia, one of the roughest fucking crowds. And I was actually there at the Royal Rumble when this happened, and they booed the shit out of them. So then they became heels and started telling, like, they started like embracing the heel and bad guyness. Eventually, they turned into good guys, and I think Diddy told me that Lavelle said that the WWE calls them the ATM machine because all their merch just sells the fuck out. And they made a joke saying that they could sell headbands with unicorn horns on. Them shit sold the fuck out.
I love it. I love it.
They have bootios.
Yeah,
No,
cereal called
that's
booty.
leverage
Cereal called
right there. That's dope.
bootios. But people loved them. People loved them. They and like they would just do random shit. Like they have shirts with pancakes on them, and they used to come down with a plate of pancakes and then toss the pancakes into the fucking crowd. People ate this shit up because they were larger than life. Now Kofi's been around in the WWE for 11 years.
Oh wow!
And I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, he started this feud with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan. Short guy, big red beard.
You telling me his African parents, paid for classes at BU or BC, and he was like, "Mom, Dad, I want to be a wrestler."
And he's like, "Mom, Dad, I'm a millionaire."
No, I'm just that conversation.
No, but like I get what
man.
he's saying because like how did he not like
get murdered?
Yeah, whoops, and been like no.
I'm glad that didn't happen, but that's just fast.
So anyway,
yo, damn, you were a hero, Kofi Kingston.
So he ended up. So he gets in this feud with Daniel Bryan. He's now the underdog, as opposed to about 3 or 4 years ago, Daniel Bryan was the underdog. So now the roles are reversed. Kofi Kingston is now the underdog, and he's like gaining like all this momentum. The fans wanted to be champion. He lost the match, and the fans were pissed. But then after like this outcry from the fans, he wins at WrestleMania, which is like the biggest stage of any wrestler to win the big championship. Thus now, Kofi Kingston is champion.
So is he the first black champion? Because I've heard
No,
that.
The Rock.
So okay,
The Rock is the first WWF black WWF champion. There have been there's been a.
You mean black when he wants to be black?
No, he's been embracing.
Is that the category?
No,
right.
he's embracing
That's why they picked him first.
He embraces his black and Samoan side.
So I don't get it. So I remember clearly because I know I'm not crazy. I remember clearly people being super excited. And I didn't know what to think because I'm like, wait, should I be excited? Because I remember The Rock being a champion.
The Rock was
black?
WWE.
And I got confused. I had to Google it.
It's one of those things where he was. People would look at him like quote unquote black. That's how he was looked at, but he is black.
Because he never talked about being black.
He talked a lot about his Samoan culture, but wouldn't talk a lot about his.
He doesn't seem like the type.
What?
He don't seem like the type. He seems like one of those like I don't want to talk about my race. People of color. People.
He hasn't, but he's been more vocal about it recently.
Really?
I don't know if it's personal or if it's like just a thing for him to be.
He's fake. He's just following.
He's just trying to get
culture.
jobs. Yeah.
I don't want to say.
He's trying to get jobs. What was
I don't think anyone here should say.
Black.
I don't think.
Is he black though?
Yes, his dad is black.
Okay, yeah, so he's black. So he's the first black.
He just never claimed it.
Yeah, but
Nah.
But I don't think anyone should say that because I wouldn't want anybody to say that about me. Like, oh, now you're claiming black.
Okay, so Omen. It's because I remember.
What else do you claim?
I know you want to end this,
Right.
People that won't necessarily see me, they don't know me. I could be light, I could be something else. But my point is, it's like,
you black?
But just because,
people
know. But how about when people say you're not black enough? That sucks, doesn't it? Like if they say you're not really this, you're not really that. So my point,
for what though?
But that's my point. So I don't want to say that. Like I should stop saying that because I don't know what his true intentions are, and since I don't know,
no. But what we're saying is he's been vocal about one side. Why not be vocal about the other?
Some people just aren't.
Be vocal about both parts of you, or shut up about all of it.
You have the courage to do it. You have the courage to do it. You do, I do.
You know me.
So my whole feeling though was all of that. Like I feel like they chose him for a reason. I feel like they pushed.
Absolutely, they absolutely did.
They pushed the fact that he was Samoan for a reason. Nothing about being black. That he was a person of color that they could push in there that was still white enough for them to make them happy.
But you see, why are you gonna say white enough though? Nothing about him is white.
But didn't he start off in the nation of like the pro-black, like
nation of domination.
Nation of domination. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But to say like he was like white enough, there's nothing about him.
I'm not saying him being white.
But
I'm
you
saying like,
said white enough.
It was enough. No, it was just enough color for them to be like, we picked a person that was.
I know,
not
but
white.
no, but you said.
Is this why The Rock?
I said white enough.
No, you said white.
Oh, well, I meant white enough.
So, but that's my thing. So it's like he was the first black WWF champion. The big issue is because they wouldn't give a black person the WWF champion unless you were, as you said, light enough. Mark Henry was world champion, not WWF champion.
What's the difference?
It's the B
The
list.
market.
Yeah.
Oh, like intercontinental.
No. There was two world champions. There's a WWF champion, and there's the world champion. So
my head
Booker
already
T.
hurts.
So it's like the JV and the varsity championship.
So there's no more intercontinental champion?
There is.
Oh.
But there's levels. There's world champ. Like, okay, for now, there's there's WWF champion.
Yeah.
There's Universal champion.
Yeah.
There's Intercontinental champion. There's US champion.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, so, but the WWF champion is the top,
head, yeah.
the top tier. So before it was a Universal champion, there was the world champion. Booker T and Mark Henry, both dark-skinned black men, were both world champions. They were never WWF champions. So the only two black WWF champions have been The Rock and Kofi Kingston.
So how
That's
proud,
it.
as a black person,
I was happy as
proud
fuck.
you should
I was
be
happy as fuck.
all right, cool.
For what?
For
That
this
Kofi
movie.
Kingston
For
became champion.
Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where not only because he was black, he didn't look like the stereotypical.
That's
like,
what I was just about to ask you. Was it because he
was actually like
he looked like a black person?
No, it had nothing to do with that. No, he looked like. So the best quote I saw was, "The WWF champion is black. No, the WWF champion is African. He wears pigtails and he wears bright colors. So he's basically just being himself. So it wasn't just because he was black. It was they finally put someone there who embraced everything that they were. And I thought that was perfect. And the fans really got behind him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people thought they were going to riot if he lost. Like, you know what I mean? So it was almost like the WWF was forced to make him change.
But that's what I'm saying. It's by the culture. It's the change of culture. They have to conform.
And the part about
they have no choice.
you were 100% right. The part that pisses me off about it is they don't do this because it's the right thing to do.
No, they do.
They do it
money.
yes.
They want to stay.
They're following that trend.
Yep. Yes.
Sticking with the
It's
wave.
always about money. But I mean, it's nice to see the progression though. Like, even like I said, with adding women or.
And they also made the comment that Becky Lynch is
fucking pissed me off. Like, you know, that whole like, I don't even watch wrestling like that, but like that whole ladders match or whatever. They finally get the ladders match, and then a fucking man wins it for the woman. Like that pissed me the fuck. I don't even watch it. When he told me, I was like, that's so degrading. Why even open up the ladders match then for the women? Like, it's so degrading. It's so disrespectful. It's so misogynistic. Like, it's just wrong. Why did they even fucking do that? So I'm waiting for them to fix that, too.
They've been making fun about it. And the other thing that was funny because Becky Lynch is, as for lack of a better term, she's an immigrant. She's from Ireland. Like, so it was like now on top you have this proud black champion. And when he won, his two kids were in the ring. Like, you know, he was hugging them. Like, he's a family man on top of that. So on one side, you have like a black man who's their world champion, the WWF champion. And on the women's side, you have an immigrant who doesn't look like a stereotypical big-tittied, blonde-haired like woman who's also champion there. So now it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Now my issue is how long does it last?
What, that they're both champions?
No.
Either one of them.
To see this type of championship. Because it could just be to get, you know.
I think, though, that Kofi Kingston is so popular that that's going to last for a while.
Well, on the women's side, I can see that fading really fast.
I can see that changing
quickly.
Well, the thing about him is like Becky Lynch has been like super popular, and she doesn't need to have the belt to be popular. So you guys are probably right.
I mean, but they do it off of popular. I just feel like Kofi Kingston's going to be like there for a while.
I just
If
hope they
they're
don't do
smart,
something
like
with
he really, it's like everything you just said. He embodies everything that is like.
I just hope that they don't do something stupid with them and like, because the three of them together, they're actually friends. Like they're actually like, they hang out together. When Hulk Hogan made those remarks about dropping the N-bomb and got caught, when they put him back into the Hall of Fame, they sat down and talked to each other about how they were going to go about doing it. And I think Kofi was the one who put out a statement about how, so like they react together. They're like, they can't.
About how what?
About how they were going to like respond to Hulk Hogan being welcomed back into the WWF.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Because like I could find a statement, but I don't feel like doing it. You guys can look it up and Google it. But
which is kind of retarded to me anyway. But
what is?
That he was allowed to come back.
He's a moneymaker. And it was funny, he showed at WrestleMania.
Moneymaker for what?
Huh?
For what? He doesn't make. He
Who,
needs
Hulk
money.
Hogan?
Hulk Hogan brings in money.
But really,
He
as
still
much
brings
anymore?
in money.
He still brings in money.
Yeah, but like that, not that much.
I don't
anymore.
watch his crusty ass, but I'm sure he still brings in money.
People
I saw a
still,
sex tape.
why?
Why?
I'm sure he
right?
does. Why would you look at
Are
that?
there like
and I-
skin flaps everywhere? I just feel like he's one of those people. That
And I look
You're
at all nudity.
disgusting.
I look at all nudity, male or female. Celebrity
guess-
nude, I want to see it. I wasn't looking at that, man.
I feel like he's one of those old dudes who like let their body
You watched
go.
it with him?
So like it's like skin flap, not fat,
No,
flap.
Yeah, you're no longer.
You watched this by yourself? You're disgusting.
You're no longer allowed to make fun of my love for Ryan Reynolds.
Spend a lot of time in the bathroom by myself, would you? Sometimes you get into the dark parts of the internet.
All right, we went from
Well,
Kodak.
that
We went from
concludes-
Kodak Black to Hulk Hogan's nut slap.
Why does it always end up saying something nasty and sexual?
Welcome to the Old Man Wade Show.
Damn it, Wade!
Damn it, Wade.